Welcome back to Let's Play Sonic Lost World. Last time, we started off the game, listened to the pretty abysmal story, but had a little bit of fun within the first two zones. This time, we're going to ignore these really cool zones and move on to Zone 3. Let's go. But before that, let's talk about functionality which we cannot currently or no longer be able to use. There's co-op. It's really not that cool. Time attack. It's what it sounds like. Normal play. It's what we've been doing this entire time. Just basic settings, Miiverse functionality, and world rankings. Co-op I'll get into a little bit later, but the rest of these are pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go too in-depth into them, but we will eventually talk about them just a little bit. But let's hop right in. So, last episode I said something about Mario. What about Mario? Well, a lot of people, when they saw this game, had Mario Galaxy flashbacks, and because of that, this game was frequently talked about as a Mario Galaxy clone, but it's a Sonic game. And I kind of understand that, I really do. This game deals with planetoids similarly to the way Mario Galaxy does. It is an understandable criticism that this game holds a little bit too much similarity to its platforming competitor. That being said, I don't think those similarities really extend that far. A lot of the level design is significantly different from Mario Galaxy simply because they're two different characters. They hold a very similar basic structure, but beyond that, there's really not a whole lot about it that's the same. The reason I wanted to bring it up here instead of earlier is because there were a lot of cylindrical level designs, and Mario Galaxy didn't have a whole lot of those. It did have quite a few of this type of structure, though, where you're inside a pipe and you're running through, or you're going through it, rather. Running is a Sonic thing, definitely not a Mario thing. So, something that Sonic has in this game is the bounce. He can crouch by pressing the Y button, roll around. This has no purpose, but you can do it. But he does have a bounce. You can break through crystal structures by using that bounce. You can break through these things by using that bounce. You can break through the crystals that blocked off this area in the first place using the bounce. It's a really basic thing from Sonic Adventure, but it's cool. I like it. I'm gonna be ignoring the colors. I really just don't care about them. They're pointless. They really are. Right up here, break through here. So, this thing returns. We have to go through the rings in the proper order, but it's a little bit more interesting. It's a little bit more difficult. You'll notice that this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. You can't just break through them all willy-nilly, because if you break through them, you're going to break through them in the wrong order and land into these rings in the wrong order. It's kind of a neat little trick, a little bit of a newbie mistake, but it's neat. It shows you that you can't just do those easily, like in the first level. They're not all going to be that simple. They're not going to be all that straightforward, which is nice. Up here, there's a perfect example of how the parkour can be interesting, but not very well explained. So I've been using parkour to run up walls, and that's really about it, nothing else. While doing parkour, you can do a spin dash, by the way, so you can continue your speed, because you will slow down after a while. But doing a spin dash will allow you to continue your speed. You'll see that there are rings that are going to the side. Sonic's parkour actually extends to sideways wall running. You do this by holding the direction you want to go and then pressing B. This is not explained at all. This is not very well explained, rather. So you have to figure that out for yourself, and you have to figure it out as early as the 3rd level. It's really, really weird. Again, I think that's a cool mechanic, and I think it can be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of cool platforming challenges they can do with that, but the issue is that they don't explain it. The biggest issue with this game, I've said it again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is why am I not doing homing attack? Hello? Okay, I don't know why I wasn't doing a homing attack there. Homing attack being weird again, but what's new? Again, the biggest issue with this game, I feel, and its controls, is that the controls are new and different, and there's no explanation as to how to use them. That is the biggest detractor for this game for me. It really is. This green goop, by the way, makes you slow down. It makes it really easy to get hit by those balls, which will kind of chase you. Like right now, I'm probably going to get hit. Yep, look at that. Lovely. That's it. That's the level. Pretty short, pretty sweet, but I like it. This beginning area has a lot of fun platforming in it, I think. It's probably some of the best levels in the game. They get a little bit weirder later on, but they're not bad. This is just kind of the perfect example of what I think Sonic Lost World levels are like when they are at their peak of enjoyment. As you can see, you needed 100 animals to get there. I had 615. The numbers really aren't that bad. Oh, let me grab that. I don't know if those mission items that you get spawn on the overworld, if that was just coincidence. I think it might have just been coincidence, but who knows? I don't know much about the overworld spawn rates for things, and I don't know if it's like, oh, you finished the mission, therefore you get that. I don't know. It's weird and not all that important. I don't use the items anyway, because you have to go into your gamepad, or go onto your gamepad, and then use them in like a suitcase in the middle of a level. It's not worth it. I just checked, by the way, I actually have 2 speed booster things, so no, that was entirely coincidence. You didn't have to pick up the mission item on the overworld. That would have been very, very weird. But anyway, moving on, let's hop right on into Zone 4.
Hey, I've been looking for you, Baldy McNosehair. Who are your friends?
Friends? These are nobody's friends. They are the Deadly Six, and they are your worst enemies. Zazz, show this blue pest how you do things up here.
With pleasure. I've been itching for a fight all day.
I think you're itching because you need a bath.
Are you disrespecting me?
Maybe.
I'm gonna mess you up!
I'd love to stay and watch him disassemble you, but I have business to attend to.
I know the perfect spot to take care of you.
That's funny, because I know the perfect spot to kick you.
Let's talk about writing, because some of the biggest issues people have with Sonic now is the writing. The writers for this game are the same as Happy Tree Friends, and it's been the same since Sonic Colors. That's when they debuted. I personally think that the writing can get quite childish, but it's a kid's game, so, I mean, what do you expect? But also, there are some good lines between Sonic and the Deadly Six. I feel like there's plenty of characterization there, and I think that scene is a pretty good example of that. Sonic saying, you know, the delivery of maybe specifically, is something which is just really, really great. I think it's super well done, and I think that dynamic between them actually works quite well. Sonic is the reason that the Deadly Six work in certain areas. Otherwise, they're just cardboard, but Sonic and his interactions with them are what make them even remotely interesting. So here, we have a level that is a mix of 2D and 3D. Let's talk about 2D. 2D is a little bit weird in this game, and a lot of people think that the 3DS version of this game is better simply because the 2D is a lot faster. And I will tell you right now, that is so misguided it hurts. Sonic Lost World for the 3DS has significantly faster run speed in 2D sections. As you can see, Sonic moves pretty slow in 2D, and he is a little bit more clunky than usual. But nothing compares to the absolutely awful level design that is Sonic Lost World for the 3DS. The level design is what ruins that game for me. I don't care if Sonic moves faster, and your issue is that in Sonic Lost World for the Wii U, Sonic isn't fast enough. At least the level design is fun and interesting. Like right now, this whole gravity-based thing where you're running around and these obstacles that didn't really play much of a role are starting to be more significant when you're on the top rather than on the bottom side of it. You know, it's very much Mario Galaxy-esque, but it's still really well put together, and I think it works really, really well. I think it's great. Let's grab those rings. I know I need them. I don't know why I've been doing so poorly. Those guys suck. I've been playing a lot of Sonic 1 recently as well, and let me just tell you, They're not any better there. They are still wonky as ever. I actually do want to kind of go back and grab that just in case something bad happens. Please let me grab it. There we go. There's a wisp I didn't talk about, and also there are these sheep. You jump into them, they bounce you along. Neat. There's also some that are red, and they hate you, and they bounce you around. They act as obstacles. You've already seen it. You probably got it. This wisp is called Asteroid. It's kind of weird. You hold down the jump button to jump really, really high. It'll destroy some ground. It says you can tilt to make it move. No. Use the analog stick, because you can use the analog stick. Do not listen to them. It's not worth it. Asteroid's kind of a weird wisp, though. I don't particularly like using him. I think that he does kind of break the pace. A lot of people talk about how some of the wisps in Sonic Colors are pace breakers, but I feel like Lost World is really the biggest, has the biggest issue with that. Sonic Colors does tend to keep the speed and keep the adrenaline pretty high, even when using wisps. But wisps in this game, they just take too much time to use, especially because of the fact that, again, you have to go down to your gamepad. I think the biggest issue with this game is the shoehorned use of the gamepad. It's very obvious that the gamepad wasn't really well thought out, and a lot of it just kind of ruins the speed and tempo of the game. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Gamepad functionality in this game, not super great. That's why I'm not focusing on showing it. The only thing it really shows you outside of basic things like ring counts is just a map, which doesn't even do anything because these levels are linear and the map is just a straight line anyway. It just shows you how close you are to beating the level, and I just don't find that necessary. Like, ever. So Zazz is using his moon in a new way. He'll throw it, and it'll bounce around. Sometimes it won't bounce around, sometimes it'll roll. It's really not that hard to get used to what he's doing. Like right then, look, ooh, it's rolling, so scary. I don't know if I hit him with that, and I'm surprised that I didn't take damage from that either. It seems very odd that I wouldn't. It gets faster. It's your pretty average 2D boss fight. These things happen all the time. It's not super unique. And with that, Zazz is gone. Yeah, he's been defeated. We're not going to see him for a long, long time.
All right, we good to go or what, Tails?
I've built a TV out of paper clips.
Yeah.
And reprogrammed a supercomputer using dishwashing detergent and a toothpick.
I know.
So look, fixing a propeller on a biplane, that's about as difficult as taking a nap.
Okay, I didn't need your whole life story. A simple good to go would have been cool.
All right. Good to go!
Cool!
New circus. New world. New level. But let's run it back a second. You fixed the what on your biplane? The propeller? Last time I checked, in the very first episode, what got hit was the wing of your plane. Absolutely not the propeller. This is what I just don't... Like, I don't care about story in a Sonic game. I really don't. But when it's actively wrong, and it cannot remain canonically correct, in like within 5 seconds of it, and it's noticeably wrong, that's when I kind of draw the line a little bit. It's a little funky, but I'm not gonna rag on it too much. Let's go into the circuses. So, as you can tell, we have a little bit of a new circus here. We have Sonic and Tails. We aren't just dealing with one or the other, we're dealing with both. We have to keep track of 2 different characters at once, even though I did a pretty piss-poor job of that with Sonic. Sonic is just gone now. They're also entirely new setups. They're not all that different, so I'm going to be cutting these out, but do these whenever you get the chance. It'll really help you not have any animal issues. It's going to make progressing in this game smooth as butter. But while I do this, I'm actually not going to cut this one out specifically because I do want to talk about progression in Sonic games and why I think this is not that bad. Sonic Unleashed. is absolutely awful at progression. You have to get a crap ton of Sun and Moon medals, which are located in really awkward places, and you have to have a certain amount of Sun and Moon medals. It's not just Sun or Moon medals, Sun and Moon medals. It's very, very poorly thought out and poorly put together. Whereas in this game, these really aren't that hard. They're really not that time consuming, and they're not in specific areas. Animals are plenty, and the numbers that you need are actually very forgiving. In Sonic Unleashed, the numbers are less forgiving, and finding these things, or finding the MacGuffins are so much more difficult. Now, I agree with a lot of people that it would be better if this or the Sun and Moon medal thing just didn't exist in general. But I don't mind it. I don't mind it that much. It would be better if it wasn't here, but specifically within the context of this situation, it's not that bad. And I think that a lot of people overreact about how difficult these animals are to get and how annoying this system is. Giving you a bit more insight onto how these work, there is actually a time limit. It's displayed on the very bottom of the gamepad, so you can't just keep doing that forever until you get all the balloons. Not a big deal, though. But, with that being said, we have done quite a bit this episode. We have beaten Zazz, seen some more members of the Deadly Six, and next time, we'll hop into Desert Ruins, Zone 1, and see what that new wisp is. I'm not really looking forward to it. Until then.